Hello and welcome to season 3 of Backstage Spotlight. My name is Mathilde Barker, your host, interviewing professionals of the performance industry to discuss the ins and outs of their careers so far, with you, the audience, at heart at all times. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy this episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Backstage Spotlight. Today I am with Sophie Jones. Hello, Sophie.
Hello, thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. Now, you guys, you need to pause this and run to TikTok or Instagram. I think your at is Soph Jones. Soph Jones, is that right?
Yeah, Soph_Jones 111.
Pause it, go watch some of her videos, and then come back because what this girl does is so good. And the way I want to tie it in with the musical theatre industry, because you've mentioned that you do musical theatre yourself, and we'll get into how that came about as well as we go along. But Sophie does rejection therapy on her social media, and there's a lot of rejection in the performing arts industry, whether that be auditions in college, even not getting a part in the end of year show. There's so much rejection, and we can really dig deep into this with you, Sophie. So just tell us how you started doing your rejection therapy and what it is for the people who might not know.
So, for the people that don't know what rejection therapy is, it's this unique, wild concept where you purposely find and embrace rejection. So, you're facing rejection head on, basically. So, you'll put yourself in situations where you know you'll get rejected. So, you could go up to a stranger and say, "Oh my God, I love your shoes. Could I try them on?" Or be in an ice cream shop and ask to make your own ice cream. And the whole point is the other person's likely to turn around and say no. And then it builds your resilience to the fear of rejection, which then means in your everyday life, you put yourself out there so much more. You don't take the world so seriously because if rejection doesn't bother you, how many more opportunities would you just go for? Probably quite a lot. So I started it because I've always had a fear of rejection, which I didn't realize until last year. And it held me back in my career, my relationships. And then it pops up on my For You page, a girl asking to make her own coffee at a coffee shop. And it just made my skin crawl. The thought of it, like the coffee person thinking that I'm entitled, the judgment. And I was heavily into self-development. So I thought if it scares you that much, then this is your next challenge. Do 30 days of rejection therapy. And it's changed my life.
Oh my goodness. What was the first thing that you did as the part of the rejection therapy?
So I started really small on my friends and family. And for example, I had a boyfriend at the time and he'd message and be like, "Oh no, someone's just rang in sick to work." So I'd reply and be like, "Oh, do you want me to come in and cover the shift?" Knowing full well he's going to be like, "No."
Yeah.
Um, or asking if my mum wanted a lift to work. So I started small like that, but then my first one on TikTok was I went to an amateur dramatics show, and at the end of the show, I asked if I could sing with the band.
Oh my goodness, did they let you?
No.
And how did it feel the first time?
It was terrifying. I was watching Jekyll and Hyde, and the whole show, I couldn't enjoy it because all I could think about was the fact I had to ask this question. And as well, like it show's all about the people in the show, and especially it being an amateur dramatics one, I didn't want to come across like I was trying to steal the limelight. So it was really nerve-wracking, but I did it and afterwards was really liberating. And the person I asked didn't seem like it was a big deal. She was actually really nice and didn't seem like she wanted to reject me. But yeah, the world kept spinning.
That's the thing though, as well, like, and you've probably figured this out along the way. People don't actually care and they don't want to reject you. So the opportunities that you must have had from doing it, opportunities that you would have missed out on because of the fear.
Literally, I realized that so quickly that people do not like to reject you. And if they don't have to, I don't believe they will.
Yeah, that's so true. And like, for example, you've mentioned the ice cream van, and I believe you have been able to make your own ice cream and stuff like that. That is something that like you wouldn't think that you can do, but if you just ask, like you don't ask, you don't get.
Literally. And there's such a deeper meaning underneath it all because, of course, yeah, it might be great that I asked to make my own ice cream and they said yes. Yippee! But if I've got the courage to ask to make my own ice cream, then I've also got the courage to, speak to my boss when things aren't going right, or go to the gym class and stand at the front, get up and do karaoke. Like I put myself out there more because I've asked such a ridiculous thing in my daily life.
Yeah. It's such a good way to like rewire your brain because you don't realize, for example, like I get scared answering the door. Sometimes like making a phone call, I have to build myself up for it. And like it's little things like that that rejection therapy will help.
Yeah, it's changed my life in that way. Like I always say, my everyday life has become so much easier because I've not got that voice that's always holding me back. Because I did used to have anxiety, and like there's nothing worse than getting really worked up and nervous before going for like a doctor's appointment or anything. So by building my resilience, it's just made my everyday life so much easier.
Yeah, that's really great. So, what things have you been able to do that you didn't think you'd be able to through the rejection therapy?
Well, a big one was going on Kiss Radio.
Yeah.
I just asked if I could go on it. So one of the presenters commented on one of my rejection therapies last year, and I just replied and said, "Please, can I come on the radio?" And he said, "Yeah." So then I went to London and went on the radio. Um, I've been on this morning talking about embracing embarrassment because that's essentially what it is as well, embracing embarrassment, which isn't as scary as we think. Um, I've I've made my own pizza, I've made my own ice cream, I've gone for coffees with strangers, I've had free parking. It all sounds like little things, but the way it does build your confidence is wild.
Yeah, I bet. And even the like free the coffees with strangers and stuff, like you probably get like faith in humanity again when you realize that people are actually willing to do it.
Yes, I always say to people, use your discernment. There's obviously a safety aspect to it, so don't go up to anyone that you feel is bad vibes, or like if you're doing it for the first time, I'd say start with like staff members or your family, because obviously staff members have a level of professionalism they have to uphold, whereas a stranger could react in any way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
You know, when you said at the beginning that you watched a TikTok and it made your skin crawl that she was doing rejection therapy, the ones that make my skin crawl is when you're on the train or like on the underground. How do you do that?
Oh, you know what? Fair enough. I get it. I've become so desensitized to it because the way I think about things now, I'm like, why can't I get up and tell everyone on the train a joke? So, for the people who haven't seen, I often do rejection therapy on public transport. So, I've been on the bus, and as I've gone to leave the bus, I've been like, bye, everyone, have a nice day. Or on the plane, have a good flight, everyone.
Yeah.
Um, I just find I can't think about it too much. I'm like, don't think, just do. And when I've got the idea, I'll just do it. But afterwards, it's so liberating, and people forget about things within 5 minutes, and people seem to laugh, and it just spreads a bit of sunshine in the world, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it does. And one of my favorite ones is the one where you're like, I don't work on this train, but if anyone would like me to, I think you say like check their ticket, like I'd love to.
I was like, I don't work on this train, but I definitely wish I did. If anyone wants any snacks, water, entertainment, let me know. And then I have to sit there for an hour and endure the whole train journey.
You've made the video. Does anyone ever ask you what you do?
Um, what do you mean, sorry?
So say like you've done that on the train and said like,
Yeah.
who wants any snacks, any drinks, let me know. And then you just like stop the video. Does anyone ever say like, oh, like what was that for? Or do they ask you like, what are you doing?
Oh, very rarely. People like it tends to be like an older person will like laugh and be like, "Oh, that was nice of you." Um, but normally people don't care that much that they just don't say anything.
It's so mad, isn't it? Because it really gets you out of your head and thinking that if you can do stuff like that in public, like people think about themselves way more than they think about anyone else. And because we're so in our heads, it actually like limits us or makes us feel more anxious because we're so concerned about what other people think, but in fact they're the same about themselves. So
Literally. A good example is when I'm on a bus or a train and I say, "Have a good day, everybody." People always comment on TikTok saying, "I can't believe no one replies to you." But it's because they've got their own fear of rejection. It's like when a busker is singing on the street and you're too scared to go and dance, even though they're the ones singing and making this big show, you're still scared to go and dance because you're scared of rejection. It's the same thing.
yeah, that's really interesting. One of the videos that I really liked was the IKEA one where you got other people involved.
Oh, that was so fun.
Because for people who haven't seen, Sophie's at IKEA and she sits down on one of the tables, like the what is it called, like a display room, and you get other people involved, and you're like, let's pretend we're having a family argument over dinner, and it's such a good video because they're probably
Um,
really into it as well. But like getting other people involved and maybe people who have seen your stuff and meet you in public, and actually. I saw a video where someone did rejection therapy on you.
Oh my God, yeah, I was shocked.
What did it make you feel like being on the other side of it?
I just thought that was so rude. And the thing is, people watching might be like, why would I want to do rejection therapy if I'm coming across rude and stuff? And obviously, my first thing is don't ask anything that is actually rude. What happened was me and my friend went to a pub quiz and someone came up to me and said, "Can we sit on your table?" But it wasn't like, "Can we sit with you?" It was like, "Can you guys move and we sit where you're sat?" Through my head, I was like, well, no. But then it twigged what they were doing. But I did think that's such a rude thing. But the whole thing is I thought that about that person, but that person isn't affected by that if they don't let it. Like they can go about their daily life and it doesn't actually change anything about them as long as they're not being nasty, obviously.
Yeah, of course. How do you come up with different ideas?
I always like to think there's an abundance of ideas. I feel like you can get inspiration from anything. I'll be walking down the street and I'll think, what's one rejection therapy I can do? And it could be stopping someone and asking them to film me and then doing something awkward or saying, "Can I have a piggyback ride?" There's always an abundance of ideas, but I'm quite a creative soul anyway, so that definitely helps.
Yeah, I love the Starbucks one where you go and ask for your drink in a pumpkin.
Have you seen that going round, that trend?
Yeah, I have. And some people actually let them
I know. I was so gutted when they said no to me.
because yours was massive as well. It must have taken you so long to carve it out.
It did. It did.
Trotting them down the street with your pumpkin, and they're like, no.
Oh, I was disappointed.
And you still sat in the Starbucks. You still drank the drink out of the pumpkin because you poured it in yourself.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking. Everyone's staring at me, but oh well.
I love it. Do you have any ideas up your sleeve for the next few weeks?
Yeah, so I've recently been introducing Mr. Sickle. Woo! So me and Mr. Sickle are going to take the world. I've got some ideas such as going into the nail shop and asking if Mr. Sickle will can have his nails done. Um, I've got loads of ideas. I was on TikTok live last night and someone said go into a library and ask if the librarian will read you a bedtime story.
That's such a good one.
Uh, it's terrifying.
It's so funny to see you like nervous about it because you don't come across nervous at all on your TikTok. And like sometimes you'll be like, oh, that was a little bit awkward, but like it is nerve-wracking and that's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the whole point. I get more nervous than I let on, I think, depending on what I'm doing, because my comfort zone's always expanding. So I'm always doing like the next thing, which is why I can now happily introduce Mr. Sickle because I've been doing it for a year. Whereas a year ago, bloody hell, no way would I be whipping out sock puppet to order a coffee. But yeah, I do get nervous, but I'm better at handling it now. I realize that it's all in my head, and I literally just tell myself, like, no one cares other than me. And
Yeah,
that's so true.
exactly. I want to ask you a question about Mr. Sickle. Did you make him yourself?
I did make him myself.
He is a work of art.
Thank you. He's really cute. And sometimes sometimes when he's not got life to him, I feel like he's not a person, but he is a person. He's got his own personality.
Yeah, he does. And does his feathers ever fall off and you just have to give him a quick little fix?
Luckily, no. Luckily, no. And he does get shipped around. He's been in my bag to
Sure.
London. So, no, he's holding up well, but it must be the super glue I used.
Maybe a little good little advert for the super glue there. Need that one. Um, so talking about like the musical theatre industry, because you mentioned to me earlier, like not on this podcast, in case people are confused and think that they've missed it, that you come from a musical theatre background. So tell me how rejection therapy can help someone who is doing musical theatre currently.
So I'd definitely say put yourself out there as much as possible, but I know that that's the advice anyway. But I would definitely try and learn techniques over handling rejection. So instead of thinking, oh, I'm so like embarrassed that I tried, or I'm so gutted that that didn't work, hold space for that feelings because you're bound to be disappointed. But be proud of yourself for having the courage to go for it and be proud of yourself for everything you're doing and try and fill yourself with positive affirmations rather than always getting knocked down. But I do understand it's easier said than done, and especially in the musical theatre industry, you never know when your next job's going to be. It's down to like, it can be down to the way you look at the end of the day, which is so brutal. So I'd definitely say practice good self-love.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And people forget that the musical theatre industry is not like normal life. Like it's so extreme. And to be rejected because you won't fit a previous costume or because you don't have the right colour hair or because you're the wrong height. It's so puzzle, it's like a puzzle piece at the end of the day that casting directors are trying to fit together. But that can feel so personal. And trying to remember that that is not like normal life and that you are still worthy as a person. It's not necessarily because of your talents, it's because of like the bigger picture. It's so
Mhm.
important to like remember that people who are in the industry and the whole rejection thing can hit so hard. And
Yeah.
I think it's so important to, as you said, the self-love, to remember that you are like putting yourself in this in the first place, and that is something to be proud of.
Yeah, for sure. And something else I like to think is if not this, then something better. I always think you can just by telling yourself, rejection is redirection, and obviously it can feel disheartening in the moment because it is disheartening. But I always think, these people that get contracts and then they meet the future husband, if you hadn't have had them two rejections on the previous things, you then wouldn't be where you are now. So sometimes having faith in the unknown, like try and trust that like the universe is on your side and what's meant for you won't pass you by.
Yeah, especially in such an unpredictable industry, and it's like that with social media as well. You've like come into this rejection therapy on a social media level, and that as a career is the same as a musical theatre career is, and you don't know what's next. You don't know if you're going to get by the next month. You don't know if you're going to get a job, which is the same as getting a theatre job, having a contract, keeping yourself going. So having faith can almost give you confidence to like work on what you're doing at the moment so that then the thing that is meant to be does come around, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
One video that I loved, which links to the musical theatre industry, was the Stranger Things show that you went and did. Tell us
Oh
about
my
that
God.
experience.
That was incredible. So that was an advertisement. So it was marketing. So they reached out to my management and said, "Can Sophie come and be in the Stranger Things?" So tying it into my rejection therapy, I knocked on the stage door and asked if I could be in the Stranger Things show, and they said yes. But obviously they knew I was coming, so it wasn't true rejection therapy, but it was still rejection therapy because I still pushed myself out of my comfort zone. I still was on the West End. And it was such a cool experience. I loved it, but you've just got to take every opportunity that you can that feels right, unless it feels like it's going to negatively impact you. But if it's scary but thrilling, then say yes.
Yeah, they put you in a boiler suit, didn't they?
Yeah, I was in a hazmat suit. It wasn't like a major role, but I was still happy to be involved. Was in a hazmat suit.
What did they make you do?
I walked through the audience. It was the start of Act Two, and all these hazmat suit guys come out in the dark with a torch. So I was one of the hazmat people. It was like a 30-second appearance, and you couldn't see my face, but it was still thrilling.
I'm sure. Would you like to do more stuff like that in the future?
Yeah, I see. I would like to do theatre again at some point, but in my head, I've convinced myself, oh, I'm not good enough now because I've not been in training. But I could always do it as amateur dramatics and stuff because I enjoy it as just a hobby.
Sure, and you never know because something can come around and you might just be perfect for it. And
Yeah.
it's like that unknown as well, isn't it? Like we might be talking 5 years' time, you're in the West End.
You never know. But my musical theatre, so I did it at college, just musical theatre, and it's definitely helped me now, with rejection therapy because even the sock puppet, I remember doing a course in like a module in college on sock puppets, and we did create our own sock puppet and have to like, did you do that at all?
No.
Oh,
I
but
feel like
obviously
I've missed out.
and then like perform to the class with the sock puppet. But obviously, it's next level doing it unprovoked on a stranger in everyday life. It's nerve-wracking getting up in front of your friends, let alone doing it to the Costa worker.
If you think about it, college, like musical theatre college, is rejection therapy in itself.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think people always say, like, how can you say you've had social anxiety, but then you've done musical theatre? And it's so different because when you're on stage, you're a different character. And for me, it always felt like an escape. Like I could be so confident on stage, but then take me off stage. I felt like all these intrusive thoughts of how no one likes me and everyone's staring at me. So it's
Yeah.
interesting.
And I suppose like in situ, like on stage, that's completely different because like that's what you do in musical theatre. So it's like there's a level of expectancy that that's what you do. So it is different.
Yeah, exactly. You've got permission to go on stage and let loose. But even going on stage and letting loose is hard. It just is, unless you've been trained in it. So, yeah.
For sure. I'm thinking back now at the stuff that they made me do at college and like we had to act out a child's storybook. Voice class is rejection therapy in itself. I don't know if you ever had voice class.
Oh God,
The
yeah.
sounds they make you do in voice is literally rejection therapy in itself. All the different exercises, the dance
Yeah.
like improvisation, that's rejection therapy.
Yeah, crawling around the room as an animal.
Rejection therapy.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, like digging deeper and looking and analyzing at the things that you're made to do, the things that you could do, and then the things that you don't do because of how you feel,
Yeah.
and the whole like psychology behind it. And it is hard because it is your brain telling you, like you're self-sabotaging. But once you realize that, like, there's a flip, like there's a switch you can flick and then that can just go if you just think like, oh, it doesn't matter. But it's that step, isn't it? It's that initial switch.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. So many people say, "Oh, I wish I could have your confidence. I wish I could do this." And the thing is, you're never going to feel fully ready to push yourself out your comfort zone, but you've just got to do it. And then it proves to your brain that you can do scary things or I can, you know, do what I didn't think I could. And that is what builds your confidence. So it's like a cycle, but the only way to get to the point of being able to flick the switch is by just taking a step out of your comfort zone, and that is what will change your life.
Yeah. I was reading something recently which might be nice to mention here is high agency people versus low agency people. And it is that switch. High agency people are people who realize that actions have like reactions and that if they
Yeah.
do something, then something will come from that. Whereas low agency people, I hope I'm not butchering this. Low agency people don't think that they have an impact and they think that actions happen to them. So, for example, like if they're not happy in their job, they just think, oh, I just have to carry on with this job instead of going to speak to your boss, which is what a high agency person would do. And it was really interesting slotting myself into it. Like, do I think I'm high agency or low agency? And thinking like, oh, well, what could I do here to make me a agency person? Because at the end of the day, like, you only have one shot at life. You want to get as much from it as you can. Before we wrap this up, I want to basically ask you if there's something that you feel is out of reach. For example, like a video idea of rejection therapy that at the moment you think I could never do that.
Oh, I'd definitely say knocking on people's houses. I
Yeah.
always get suggested to ask to use someone's loo or say, "Oh, I really need a drink. Do you
Yeah.
mind if I have a drink?" And as much as it's a great idea, I physically couldn't do it because it feels like such an invasion of someone's privacy.
That's like intrusive, isn't it? If someone came
Yeah.
to your door, you'd be like,
Um, but I would say things that are more in reach but still feel out of reach. I would say my series with Mr. Sickle, like randomly walking into a nail shop and saying, "Can Mr. Sickle have his nails done?"
I'll be like, no.
Yeah,
Any video.
but
I'll be looking out for that one.
thank you. I might do it today.
Do it. Yeah, do it. Do you think you'll introduce any other characters?
Well, someone said, "Why don't you introduce Mrs. Sickle and then Mr. Sickle and Mrs. Sickle can fall in love?"
Oh, oh,
But
storyline.
yeah, maybe eventually, but for now, Mr. Sickle and I will take the world.
You're Mrs. Sickle at the moment.
Yeah.
You're Mr. Sickle forever. I love it. I think you could have a TV show on this.
I would love to. That is definitely a goal because it's such a unique concept, and I feel like I've learned so much doing it. I definitely could share my words of wisdom and help with it.
Yeah, and it teaches other people like to have the courage and the mindset. And that is really important. Like even just watching you, like I've had that change being like, oh well, you can do stuff like nothing can stop you. Like it is,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Oh,
So
I'm so glad. That's so nice to hear.
or even like a long form, like a longer form series on like YouTube or something like that. Like have a little series of it. I think that that would be really good. I can see you doing that in the future.
Yeah. Thank you. That's nice to hear.
Oh, good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Um,
Thank you.
so lovely to have you on. And to everyone listening, this is your sign to do like a tiny little bit of rejection therapy this week.
Yeah. It
Oh,
doesn't have to be huge, but just something out of your comfort zone.
yeah. Well, maybe I'll do some rejection therapy today. Let's see.
Good luck.
Thank you. Take care and speak soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.